Hi. How do we start these things?
I don't know.
Welcome to another episode of Writing in Cars with Books. I'm Jaclyn.
And I'm Phillip.
And today we're discussing Spider-Man. Brand New Day.
You've been cutting off the bottom of the books
I
lately,
did that on purpose. Spider-Man, Brand New Day. This is a collection by many different authors that I might not read right now. But it is like 3 issues here, 3 issues there, but they're all from Amazing Spider-Man. And do they have anything to do with the movie Brand New Day?
We have no idea.
We'll see, because we haven't seen the movie.
Yet.
So, the first story was issues Amazing Spider-Man 555 through 557, and it was called Sometimes It Snows in April. And so basically, there's a blizzard in April in New York City, and Spider-Man and Wolverine have set out to find the secret of the deadly storm.
Not the secret.
Yeah, so Spider-Man's hiding out in like not Avengers Tower. What is their hideout called?
I don't know here.
Anyways.
Avengers Mansion. I don't know.
No.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant to this whole conversation.
But, yeah, there's a freaking villain. And, of course, Peter's, like, freezing his tail off. How do spiders survive in the winter?
Most of them just hide in a warm spot. You wear thermal underwear. Come on, man.
So, there's some of the art. I don't really... Okay, so he catches what he thinks is a bad guy and takes him to prison.
No, he just takes him to the police to get him.
He takes him to the police station to get help, but he was actually the bad guy.
Am I the bad guy?
He kills a bunch of people.
Yes.
And it has something to do with, like, the Mayan calendar.
Always.
Right?
Always something. Yeah, it's...
Sorry. I don't remember.
Wow, what a great review. I read this story.
It wasn't very impressionable on my brain because I was like, what am I reading? This is... Anyways, what did you think of the first story?
Let's just talk about this whole book overall, right?
No, I want to talk about each story.
Okay, then move on then. We've talked about that story. Let's move on. You know, let's not belabor things here.
Okay.
That's not what we're doing.
The second story was called The Other Spider-Man. And Peter must solve the mystery of who the other Spider-Man is. And he goes to a bar. This one was probably my least favorite because
Is this the bookie one?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a gambler placing bets. Oh, by the way, during this whole book, Peter is wanted for murder. But in the second book, there's a bookie, and they're placing bets on if Spider-Man is going to come out and fight or whatever.
Sure.
It was a lot of betting going on. So eventually he shows up at the bar and he's like, what are y'all betting against? Anyways, I did not love that one either. Did you?
I mean, it was, once again, I think there's an overall tone to this book that made it very hard to like.
Those two stories had nothing to do with each other.
I understand that, but nothing really wrapped up because you still had the overarching thing of...
Yeah, it was 3 issues. Yeah.
I mean, it was just basically who was doing the bet. So he found the guy, but the guy's father was a part of it. And it just...
Yeah. And he always tries to do the right thing, and it comes back and bites him in the butt because people are abusing the system.
Right.
Okay. 3-way collision. Spidey finds himself in a car chase across the city with overdrive. Which side of the story is the real one? I don't remember that one. Okay.
It's basically just a car chase.
Yeah.
Right.
And then flashbacks was probably my favorite of the stories. It was whatever happened to Flash Thompson. So we all know Flash Thompson was Peter's former nemesis in high school.
Right.
He was his bully.
He was the bully, right.
And at this time, in Life Story, Flash Thompson goes to war back in Vietnam. This one, he is in the Middle East.
Right, is in Iraq.
Yeah. So he plays a hero in the Middle East, and there was parallels to his story and him actually looking up to Peter and what Peter does, or what Spider-Man does.
What Spider-Man does.
He doesn't know Peter's Spider-Man.
Correct.
So there's that. But I really liked the parallels of that and how Flash goes into like a bunker and he sticks against one, and he's like, how did you pull that off? And he's like, well, Peter did it. Spider-Man, sorry. I know that he's Spider-Man.
He's right, but it's not.
So I really, really like that story.
That was a really good story. It was basically reintroducing Flash into the Spider-Man universe from him going off to war and back, and bringing him back in. And that's the ending of that story is when you find out Flash lost his legs.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, right? From a story from 20 years ago.
Right. And then I ask, is this what led to him being Venom? And of course,
it was. He became military, had Venom at the time, so he ended up becoming Agent Venom. And so when he was Agent Venom, he had legs because Venom gave him legs.
Yeah. So I read Venom's Space Knight many moons ago.
Right.
And I really liked that one. But that's not anything about this book.
No.
Then there's a story called Black and White. Witness the return of one of Spider-Man's most unforgettable enemies, Hammerhead. It's a sign of things to come, and it's looking deadly.
Right. This is where Hammerhead is actually working with, what's the villain in here?
Mr. Negative.
Mr. Negative, yeah.
So Mr. Negative appears throughout this book, but other than that, I was finding a hard time connecting what all these stories had to do with each other.
Well, and the murder thing.
Yeah.
The murder thing, but we never resolved that.
That's not resolved either. Okay. Family ties. As the mayoral election ramps up, gang activity is at an all-time high, and Hammerhead works to bring them all under Mr. Negative's banner, or else. And even Spider-Man can't stop him this time.
Or can he?
Or can he?
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just a Hammerhead Spider-Man fight is all this is.
Yeah. Old hunting buddies. Spidey clashes with the Punisher in a good old-fashioned punch-a-palooza. What does Frank Castle want with a mysterious power-enhancing serum?
Right. This was probably my third favorite story in this book.
Third favorite.
Yeah, it was. Flash was first. We haven't gotten to the second one yet, but this is probably my third. And this one was truly a one-off, right? Like it had a beginning, middle, and end with Punisher. It was just that's all it was him and Punisher trying to take that. Well,
some of them are one issue, some are two, and then I think the first one was three.
Yeah. But
they literally are just random pulled issues.
Right.
And then the last one is called Unscheduled Stop, and I think we would agree that was our second favorite.
Right.
So, Spidey must summon all his strength and courage when a shocking earthquake hits New York City, burying him in a subway car of innocent people deep under the rubble.
Right.
So, actually, there was a group of people going to a trial, and they were all in one cable car.
Go ahead.
And that cable car was targeted. And it was Peter, not Spider-Man. Peter knew something was wrong because they wouldn't let him on that cable car and the other one was packed. So his spidey sense started tingling, and he interjects into the situation. And the cable car, essentially, after they blow it off the rest of the train, gets buried.
Right. The shocker. It was the shocker.
The shocker caused the earthquake. Yep. And Spidey saves the day.
Yeah, it was a good Spidey story, and that was the story that introduced J. Jonah Jameson Sr.
Yeah, that was interesting because he had no relationship with
his son.
And he's essentially saying sorry about my son to Peter or Spider-Man.
Right.
And that was actually really interesting.
But it was a good Spider-Man story. Once again, it shows you who Peter Parker is, who Spider-Man is when people are in danger, and what he'll do to go save people, even with the detriment of himself.
Yeah. So throughout the whole story, Peter works at the DB after it was sold from under J. Jonah Jameson.
Right.
And becomes the DB, not the Daily Bugle, and he loses his job and he's looking for a new job and no one will hire him because Jameson's like, don't
Not
hire
Jameson,
him.
the guy who owns DB.
Yeah, whatever.
It's not Jameson. Let's not do that here.
What's his name?
I can't remember the guy who bought the DB, but that guy
His
was.
name
like,
is DB though.
He was.
It's his initials.
He was railroading.
Yeah, so he had a hard time finding a new job.
Right.
So he does find a new job, but we don't really see the whole process because
it skips all those issues.
I'm just trying to remember things,
Yeah.
man. But so that's throughout the story is Peter trying to find a job, getting a new job. Mr. Negative makes appearances in here, but overall it felt like a very disjointed collection to me.
Yeah, if it's a $10 collection, right? So let's get that out of the way. Marvel made a $10 collection because of the movies coming out, right? But the stories were all part of the Brand New Day. So when that started, that they're all from that.
Say what Brand New Day is.
So Brand New Day is what happened after Mephisto ended Peter and Mary Jane's marriage. And it was like they were never married. None of that happened. And so Brand New Day was Peter being single again for the first time in a long time. Mm-hmm. And basically having to pick up his life like from a certain point.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of de-aged him a little bit and all that stuff. And so all that happened.
So that's why it's called Brand New Day?
Right.
Because Brand New Day is an era of Spider-Man stories.
Right.
But again, this was not just one story, so it felt like there was no continuation.
Right. So if you take the individual stories each by themselves, the main story was told, right? There was a beginning, middle, and end, but then a big part of each story was someone was framing Spider-Man to be a murderer.
Yeah.
Right? And they didn't even give us the finale of that in here.
That was the most frustrating part.
And I think that was frustrating to me too. And once again, your main parts of each story was completed, but like there was
a whole collection.
But there was as a whole collection, they should have added the last issue where you found out who was framing Spider-Man. Yeah, and I thought that was I thought that was a really interesting thing not to do in this book. Like, once again, it's a $10 book, and I get it from Marvel, which is a wow in itself. But I felt like that should have been some closure, right? And I think it would have made it a little bit better. But, you know, like you said, even him not having a job, him looking for a job, and then the next story, he's well into his new job, and all that's missed, and that's fine, right? But it's
part of the development.
It's part of the, and that's
I enjoy.
Right, and I think that's a part of the stuff that makes this series a little disjointed.
Yeah.
This is probably the most negative I've been on anything we've ever read on this whole show. Right? And once again, it's not some of the stories, it's just the fact of how disjointed.
They put these stories in a book and branded it as Brand New Day.
Right.
And then, I mean, I can't say if it has anything to do with the movie. Like, is Mr. Negative going to be the villain in the movie? Or is he going to be wanted for murder in the movie? Or is this other stuff matter?
Right. Or is it just issues from that era? Like, it did give us a Punisher story, right?
Yeah.
But like, we got that Flash Thompson story, and it's like,
what for?
I can't imagine, like, the Flash Thompson from the movies isn't this Flash Thompson at all.
No, not at all.
So I can't. So it's things like that I don't understand. And they were like, hey, if you want to, read, Marvel was touting this, right? Like, hey, if you want to read some Brand New Day stuff, getting ready for the movie, then read this. But I'm like, unless Mr. Negative is going to be the villain.
But even this is not really a good intro to him.
No, but I'm just saying, if he is, then that's fine. But there's no Hulk story in there.
No. It just felt very random.
It did feel very random.
And I need conclusions.
Right.
I mean, I do enjoy an open ending sometimes where you can figure it out or use your imagination, but there's no way I could try to figure out who was framing him from all of these different
Right.
stories.
Yeah, and this isn't something that you would have, like Spider-Man's not an open-ended thing.
No. Like, you need to know who the overarching villain is.
Right.
Or...
Like, I think, once again, most of these stories, like the Flash Thompson was a one-off. The Punisher was a one-off.
That was just one issue.
One
too.
issue, right. So the Punisher was one issue. The Subway was one issue, right? So, and it was only one.
Oh.
And then they didn't really talk about, the murder in those stories, right? Mm-hmm. And so you were okay there, but the other ones were like 2 and 3 parters.
Yeah. The first story was 3 issues, and it was very much he's wanted for murder, so
right.
he didn't want to go to the police station.
Correct.
And the bookie one was 2.
But it was the same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah. And so it was really, to me, I think the story makes more sense when you have all those issues together versus how this is split up. But
it's all different creators, so I mean they're literally from different.
And I want to be fair, right? Like, I know how all this plays out. I've read all these issues, but if you're trying to bring new people in to a shop, this is going to confuse people, is my opinion, right?
I already overheard someone talking about this collection in the comic shop, saying they didn't like it because it was basically
confusing,
disjointed,
right.
and not consecutive.
Like, if you have never read Spider-Man or read very little Spider-Man or here and there, this is going to confuse you at the end because there's no finale to it, right?
Or just someone that doesn't read a lot of comics isn't going to know, like, why is this like this?
Yeah.
Because all comics aren't like this.
No. Yeah. Like I said, if you're reading the whole storyline, it's fine, but for an introduction for someone, I think it would make it very frustrating for somebody to read these stories and talk about Spider-Man's wanted for murder for 10 issues, and then you get to the end and you're like, what?
Why?
And then maybe someone's thought is, well, now they'll go buy other books to sit there and find out who did it, but
maybe not.
But maybe not, because it's a turnoff.
Yeah. I mean, there's some really great writers
and artists.
It wasn't bad writing.
Nope.
It was just as a collection.
Right.
Didn't feel
purposeful. And we need to make that clear, right? Yeah, we want to make that clear. It's not the writing that's bad. It's the art is not bad. It's the issues that they decided to collect in a disjointed manner that made it a little off-putting.
Yeah. Like, you have Zeb Wells, you have Joe Kelly, you have Dan Slott, you have Mark Waid.
Right.
Like, you have great creators writing these stories. And, like, I really didn't like the bookie one, but that's just a me personal preference. Right. Like, I didn't like that content. But it wasn't poorly written.
Right. It wasn't poorly drawn.
No. Like, the art is fantastic, as always. Like, this is the bus chase or whatever. It felt very Speed.
Well, that's basically what it was.
Yeah.
And that was probably written by Joe Kelly, too, if I would imagine.
Probably, yeah.
Joe Kelly seems to like doing those things.
Yeah.
Joe Kelly likes those Speed type stories.
Okay. So the bookie one did have some of the guys riding these bumper cars. They were like in a carnival.
Like, once again, the stories.
There was funny aspects of all the stories, and they're very Peter coded, Spider-Man coded. Like, you really see the essence of who he is as a superhero. But the bus one was Gale Guggenheim Slott. Maybe that's something else.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So there we go. There's our review.
That's our review of this collection. For the month that we read all the Spider-Man books, definitely really... What was the first one we read?
I don't know. Life Story is one of my favorites.
Life Story was good, but I think the first one we read was my favorite.
What was the first one? Do you remember? Look on your phone really quick while we're having this conversation.
Okay, so we read Life Story, Spirits of the Earth.
Right, but that wasn't first.
The Other. The other was fantastic.
Yes, the other was probably, overall as a big Spider-Man story, The Other was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was where he got the organic webs and stuff.
Yeah. So
But
I really enjoyed that.
yeah, that one was probably that one. I'm always impressed with that story on how down to earth, even though with all the stuff happening in it, like with him getting the spikes and all that stuff, it just feels such a down to earth Spider-Man story. Like him and Mary Jane parts in that story, are just amazing. So that was probably.
We read a very interesting mix of Spider-Man.
Yes, we did.
This month, and there's
throughout all the generations.
There's so much to choose from.
Yep.
So.
And then,
but you would definitely recommend the new Spider-Man that Joe.
Oh yeah, the current run on Spider-Man is phenomenal.
If I could recommend one Spider-Man book ever for anyone to read, it would be The 8 Deaths.
8 Deaths is. I love the 8 Deaths.
Yeah.
There's so much to unpack in that book. Like it's.
That's another episode we did.
Yeah, that book is amazing. So.
Amazing.
Amazing.
So.
Pun intended.
Today we discussed Spider-Man: Brand New Day. It is by all kinds of people, wonderful humans.
I'm a human.
Yeah. But check it out if you're interested in just some random Spider-Man stories. Okay, bye.
Bye.